episode. M3GAN. We have both seen this movie, and what I like about it now, man, King, is I have this whole thing settled now. I know how to work like this opening closing thing, uh,
Okay.
semi regularly.
Looks nice now. It looks. I like how you pull a curtain open and close. Pause.
Yeah, well, I pull it close so I can like switch transitions to like the next one.
Oh, that's
But
dope.
so M3GAN, I seen it last week. You seen it last night. For those of you who don't know, M3GAN is pretty much like a modern take on Chucky in a way. Would you say that's a fair analogy?
No.
You don't think it's a modern? I mean, look, I know there's a lot of aspects to M3GAN that's not the same as Chucky, but I do think it's a modern take of Chucky. I think that's a fair assessment.
When I break it down, I don't think you would.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, chat. Do you think that it's a modern take of Chucky? And you corrupt some of the chat, so I probably should have said that before.
Messi Lords roll with the king. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. So all right, let's get with let's get with M3GAN, man. Give me your overall impressions of M3GAN.
All right. So I went into that it was going to be a modern take on Chucky. Really did. I thought we were going to get that aspect of it, and I walked out saying it was more of a modern take on AI, the movie with Will Smith. Uh,
Nah, I can't get down
it,
on that,
and
man.
I know you might not go there.
Maybe on a smaller scale, because iRobot was
Yeah, I
was
robot say
what
AI. Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was a
robot.
lot bigger. It was a lot bigger on a way bigger scale.
Well,
It was
okay.
like 1,000 M3GANs jumping around. Like,
All right. So that's a triple A budget film. This isn't a triple A budget film. This is basically like the genesis of it, right? So the genesis of it is you have to think of it. Chucky was supernatural and spiritual in his whole essence, transferring the power of the brain
well,
to
see,
the
I wasn't really
doll and the
referring it to like the
symbolize
demonic
the
thing. I
unbelief.
was I was talking about just the doll aspect.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's close, but
But that not a lot of
he was
not a
more like
lot
a
of things do
Terminator.
that. Like not a lot of things do that.
Right.
You
So
think you think it's more of a modern take on like on Terminator,
she's
or you think it's
she's
just more on
sentient.
Terminator's theme?
She's sentient. She's a sentient being. It was different. Chucky was an evil killer that transferred his body, his essence into a doll and pretended to be a doll. This was in all
I
intents and
feel you. I
purposes
feel you.
a
Okay, yeah, I can
learning
see where you're coming
machine.
from on that.
Right, with no protocols around. She's really Ultron. It's really wild crazy because I went in there and I saw something. I was just like, wow, this is the best take on a smaller budget because the budget wasn't huge, but how they worked it very well. It was, first of all, it was a very tight storytelling from beginning to end. It was very
It
tight.
was good. It was tight.
Even plot holes that you thought was there, they revisited really quickly and told you about the plot hole and was like, boom, and closed the plot hole. Right. So the movie was intelligent. It's more of a horror comedy, right? And
I actually don't see the comedy. I don't think the comedy was there that
when she
much.
was dancing, you didn't see the comedy in that?
That was just like one scene. If you want to get technical, that scene with her dancing, we'll get to the spoiler thing in a second. That was like the only real big plot hole I had in the whole movie. Like,
Well, but okay,
we'll
so
get to that in a second. We'll get to
the
that in a second.
movie appeals to the young crowd, the very young crowd. Young crowd is TikTok. It starts off with Furbies, right? So remember the take of Furbies, little trashy dolls that don't really have any intelligence to them at all. Very catchy stuff a while ago. So now they have a different take on it, but she was the modern iteration of what toy manufacturers aspire to be. they always want to get this next greatest best that can one up the next toy manufacturer, and she had it. But what she didn't do is it was rushed. A lot of things happened in between a time, and she wasn't able to instill certain protocols into the machine. So the machine was doing what a machine would do, is gain information and overwrite certain protocols. It was ingenious in how they delivered it. Now the comedic aspect of it is she was dealing with a child that is you say like 12 to 13 years old, and the child at that age has a little snarky little attitude, a little bit of rebellious nature, and the doll took on that whole personality and fed into it, which would make it comedy, which would make it funny. But it was a malicious doll because it learned about death very early on. So that's what the comedy is. The comedy is within the subtle little aspects of it that she did. It was funny as hell. Some of those scenes was funny as hell, like with the dogs and stuff.
Yeah. I guess we'll get to the spoiler part. So actually, we won't. Let's stay in the spoiler part. I
She
forgot
looks like Elizabeth Olsen. She looks like and shout out to Locke. Uh, he put up a tweet with a meme that had the Vision and the Scarlet Witch, and that's their baby, and it was hilarious to me. I think I retweeted it. It was funny as hell. He was definitely spot on.
So
with it.
this is where we get to the spoiler part. Unfortunately, all the hard work I did on the non-spoiler room, I didn't do the spoiler room, so I can't go to the spoiler room.
So this is the part in the episode. Well, how about you put the big spoiler thing right there next to us? You can do it.
I deleted that too.
Oh, all right,
But
guys.
I could do it, but see, the problem is like I didn't put your like the new thing. Hold on, give me. It probably won't even take much. I just have to copy and paste it. Give me 1 second, guys, because I'm not. I see. Usually we use Zoom, but I thought try to do something different. That way we won't have to like rely on using Zoom. And I actually like this because what we can do is we can have I can control your audio in case your audio is a little high or low. I can control your audio in this. All right, so yeah, it didn't take long. Let me just
there it
open.
goes.
Let me open up our stuff here at Extreme. There we go. And as you can see what's funny is I don't have access.
In life. Now that King is taking.
That didn't take long. Never mind. Like, all right, so this is the spoiler part. So if you ain't seen it, and some of you in the chat act like you don't care, so I don't think you care. But we're about to spoil the hell out of M3GAN. I actually enjoyed this movie. There's not much issues I have with this movie, but there's one big thing that didn't make sense. It felt like the whole movie was revolved around her only committing murder when it was necessary to protect the little girl. Would you not agree with that? Why kill the boss? There was no reason to kill the boss.
She killed the boss because the boss wanted her terminated from the beginning. You don't remember? She never forgot.
Yeah, I could feel that, but but I feel like that's emotion at that point. She didn't seem like
she gained emotion. She gained emotion when she sat there with the little girl and she said, tell me a story about your mother, and I'll save it right here.
Yeah, tell
That's
me.
That's when she was bonding.
Tell me at the end when they started like taking all the material that made her look like a human and her hair off. She started looking like at that point she did start looking like a Terminator. Like,
yes. Well, she's made out of titanium, right? I and listen. I mean, I was predicting certain things throughout the film. The reason why the film doesn't rate all the way with me, and you're gonna be surprised with my rating of the film, is because the predictability of the film. I was able to predict from when the film started to when the film ended what was going to happen, how it was going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the predictability and nature of the film didn't have too
You,
many twists and turns for me.
yo, King, let me interrupt you. Tell me
Yeah.
how when that thing started with that big like robot, I was like, that thing's gonna be used. That thing is gonna be used. There is
Yeah.
no reason to use this thing in this scene. Like,
It was a MacGuffin that I said, aha, this is how they're gonna get her. Hold on one second.
oh God, this
Dragonheart
golden
Yobi.
child thing.
Hold on. Dragonheart Yobi with the $10 super chat. Legendary ILP. Shout out to the Golden Child Addict. Reason I call you that is because you are. Also, you show with dirt and ask why I don't have a special name. Now you do. Peace,
Oh
love,
my
life.
God, golden.
On the
Yeah,
show with dirt.
to tomorrow the Addict show returns. So I
Good.
hope you
Great.
guys like that because we actually got a lot to talk about. All right,
Yeah.
so I agree with you. I think the movie was predictable because see the way I like the show is because like you dig down into a show more than I do. You most of the time I just take a show from face value. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't really put too much thought into stuff, but I do agree with you. I feel like the movie was pretty predictable. Like the only thing that wasn't predictable was the only thing I didn't like. Ironically, was killing
How killing the boss.
the boss, and then she comes in there, and the dude's like, "Why'd you do that?" She's like, "I didn't do that. You did that." and then I'm thinking about. Well, I'm like, I think they should have kept him alive because they gonna believe that a robot killed, like the little dog killed him.
What I loved about that scene, she used his own hand to slit his own throat.
Because she knew
Yeah.
that she needed that angle with his hand fingerprints on the
Yep.
weapon.
And she's like, "You are overcome with grief."
Look, okay, all right, chat. I will say, first off, this movie's doing very well.
Yes,
like mad
really
more
good.
successful than I thought it was going to be. Apparently, it made like what 50 million open weekend, and I know that don't
Yep.
sound like a lot to you guys, but for a movie like this, that's a good amount. You know that's a good opening. They've already greenlit the sequel, which I kind of
Good.
they did open up a little bit in the sequel. You know, I felt like the movie deserves a sequel because I felt like they
It
did
should.
enough to entertain me, and it was a fun time. But what is your biggest issues with this? Like besides the predictability?
of the film. All right, so the TikTok dance made no sense.
Yeah, because
Right?
it was literally she didn't show like it would have been different if like the little girl showed her that TikTok dance like at the beginning of the movie or
Right.
something like, but she comes out there and like I would have wanted her to like crawl on the walls or something over a TikTok dance that made no
Whoa.
sense.
Well, she did a couple of those later on when she was extremely damaged. She was moving in a terribly
In the house,
frightening, robotic way, where the movie took on a more sinister, serious tone when she realized that the girl betrayed her. She pleaded to the girl to, "Hey, listen, man, we kill her together. We wrap this up together. We can do this together." And the little girl was like, "Oh, hell to the no!" And she got Big Brody out and commenced to whip her behind.
Part of me wished that M3GAN killed them, and the movie ended with them mass producing her as a doll.
Well, okay. So the reason why I waited to see if it was going to be a cutscene like a Marvel film,
I did.
because she's sentient. And when her mind went inside the little robot, her mind was already inside the little robot. She was using electronics in her immediate vicinity to control them.
She shut them out of the computer. Remember, they had to disconnect her to get her out of it.
But she was able to do it through Wi-Fi because remember when the alarm was going off, she walked past the alarm. She was able to turn the alarm off without even thinking about it.
She just did this. Like ran with her hand and you could tell that like that little AI at the beginning was different at the end. So there's clearly something going on there.
It was a modern take on like if you this stokes a lot of fears. It stokes a lot of fears. A lot of people have these fears that AI becomes sentient, and how can we do it, and when would it start, right? And this started off with the greatest. They said the road to hell is paved by good intentions. The sister wanted to give her a friend and something that she can work that she was working on to help her deal with her grief over her mother and father dying. And that was good intentions, right? But it was paved to hell because she didn't get a chance to put up the firewall. She didn't get a chance to put up the protocols. And Megan kept, like a child, testing the boundaries of what she was able to get away with and what she wasn't able to get away with. And those boundary testing acts, went to the daughter. I mean, the kid. And the kid started doing like when she smacked the girl. Like when she smacked the girl in the face, I was like, oh hell no.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught on this, but maybe it was just me.
Yeah.
But when she was fighting the dog and she went down and hit the ground, you heard that circuit fry.
Yeah, hit her head.
I felt like that's when she started going loco. It's like something happened with that that started making her like maybe
had a short circuit.
There was some kind of damage done that.
Yeah.
At that point, she stopped thinking like she was originally designed to.
Well, I believe it was a short circuit at that point in time because you saw it when he bit her.
It sparked.
Yeah. I like the fact that when she went and she called a dog and she took the dog away. We never saw the dog again, but when she went to go kill the neighbor, she said, where's Sparky or whatever? And he was like 35 kilometers over.
Yo, she killed her a really gruesome way, man.
Yeah.
Like, she pretty much sprayed her with a hot hose. Like,
she sprayed her with a power washer.
Oh, power washer.
Face until her skin came off, into power washed into her brain. It was a really good take on the film. It was when she grabbed that little boy and she was pulling on his ear. Now, I thought it was a plot hole because remember, she throws the ear away.
Mm-hmm.
His ear is not going to fly away from a car crash. But when they talk to the sister and the detective says, well, what we found was kind of weird was, an ear was clean, ripped off a couple of yards away up the hill. And that made the sister think like, oh, we got to really check out M3GAN because M3GAN probably on some murderous junk.
And you could tell that like she was suspecting M3GAN before that happened.
Yeah.
But when and that's what I like, because at first it looked like that was going to be a plot hole, and then they're like, okay, it's not. Like we put this in here. What I liked is like I liked the evolution of the sister slowly seeing where M3GAN's going, and by the time she realizes 100%, it's too late. Like M3GAN,
too late.
Because if she would have done something towards the beginning, I feel like M3GAN would have let her shut her down. But once she got to a point where she felt like everything she was doing is justified, it was right. I think it was right at that point where she turned her off, and then she turned herself back on when she looked away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think at that point, it was over. There was nothing she could do.
When she started questioning her, when she said, "M3GAN, shut off," she said, "I thought we was having a conversation."
That was the same night. That was the same night.
Hello. And then she grabbed the remote and turned her voice down.
Did you like when the first time she did the pin thing and turned her off, she tried it again, she slammed her on the table? She's like, we're not doing that again.
Not again.
So all right, man. Let's get to the nitty gritty, man. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let me go back to the non-spoiler room, man. Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Let me shut the curtain for you guys. What do you rate this, King? Or you want me to go first? Or you go first.
I'll go first. This is no big thing. I give it 3 popcorn.
A 3 popcorn. Was there a particular reason you give it 3?
Yeah, because I thought it did everything right. But the worst thing that I like in my films, I don't want it to be predictable. I want you to throw me a curveball. And the curveball that you did throw me, I had to dig very hard to see the motivation behind that curveball when you killed the boss.
Yo, Jeff, you stupid for that comment. Is it wrong to think that doll's kind of hot? Yes, it's definitely wrong.
Definitely.
We might have to get
not
a
nice.
what do they call that thing when you have the cops go check on someone to make sure they okay?
A wellness check.
Wellness check. We gonna have to get a wellness checkup on you, my dude. I give it a 4.
I knew you would.
I actually really enjoyed it.
All right, and let me ask you this question because I knew I had to come at you for this. We gave Avatar 4. Is this movie in the same class as Avatar?
It's not, but I would consider Avatar in the higher echelon of 4, and this is like a lower
4.5.
Like,
well, see,
in this central, I would give this a 3.5, but we don't have a 3.5. And I do think that as far as the storyline that they showed, I don't think it's a 3. I think it's a 3.5 to 4. They did what they went out to originally do, and I think they did it well. But the problem is, it's like the predictability, and I think there's, I think what would have been interesting if they had some kind of like, a wrench in the storyline. Like, you find out that at the end that, M3GAN was the second robot, and the first one helps them fight off the second. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just at the end where they had them hung up.
Looking for a plot twist.
At the end where they had M3GAN hung up. Yeah. If you see the first one's little cage there all the time, but you never see them, and then they just it just look like, I get it. It's a 3 to 4. I go into a 4 because at the end of the day, I want to be entertained, and I was entertained for the entire.
I was thoroughly entertained. 3 popcorn is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with 3 popcorn. I think the sequel can reach a 4 popcorn level, but was it 4 popcorn? It was way too predictable. When you saw the big robot,
I'll give it a 3.
Knew that big robot was going to whip our ass.
You convinced me. I'll mark it back down to a 3.
Thank you. It's just. If I'm gonna give it a 4, is it on the same level of something I gave a 4 to before? And I can't say that it's Avatar 4. So. It's a 3 for me.
But see, I feel like the reason I don't do that is because I can't compare something that didn't have the budget to something else.
But see, that's okay. So it had to be truly exceptional, and it had to throw that curveball that you said, "Oh snap! I didn't see that coming." At no point in time in that movie did you go, "Oh yeah."
There was no
no suspension
whatsoever in it. It was. Right? It was the definition of beginning, middle, and close.
There you go. That's it, and that's exactly what I told my wife. I said there is a beginning, a middle, a climax, and a conclusion, and it followed that whole script. So
it is what it is. I do think that it's a solid experience, and I think you guys should go watch it. But I can understand there's certain issues that some of you guys have. So that's pretty